Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Two Shots on the Ball. We've got another big week on AUS Pros. The man, the legend from UNB. He ends his career at UNB with 2,407 points, putting him first place all-time USPORTS basketball scorer, AUS MVP 3 times, AUS champ in 17-18. The man from Kitchener, Ontario, it's Javon Masters. How you doing, Javon?
Good, man. Thanks. I appreciate you guys having me, man. I mean, I've been seeing what you guys are doing. I mean, especially with this whole thing going on, I just want to talk ball. Like, I've been out here working. I mean, I just want to hoop right now, man. Just want to hoop.
Hopefully this talk will help out a bit. How you doing, Adam?
Doing well, man. Big week.
Good? Yeah, definitely. And how about you, Coach Skin?
Yeah, doing great, man. Just trying to enjoy this nice weather finally, which is good. Awesome to have. Streak. Awesome to have, legend on the show, right? And it's just great. Somebody who has the passion for the game that Javon had for his career. It's great to have him on the show so that he can talk hoops with us.
Totally. I'm in awe, Javon. Like, you put on a show for 5 years in our favorite conference, my man. It was a real treat to watch it. And so proud of you to go on and play professional basketball. So maybe without further ado, we'll start the questions and the interrogation here. But what brought you from Kitchener, Ontario to UNB?
I thought it was just the best place for me. Just my relationship with Coach Baker. Just we have like a different type of vibe and not really many people understand it. Only like Matt Daly, who's the assistant coach and stuff like that. They only know like how close Baker and I are. And just the coaching staff, like Fredericton, like the whole community that was was just so welcoming. And I thought that would be the best place for me to play basketball at a high level and a really good conference that was really going up and up and up. So my first year till now, like I'm watching all the games and stuff. It's like the AUS is like a top tier conference in the country right now. So just doing that and just being able to play at a high level and get my degree my final year were some of the factors I factored into going to play at UNB for 5 years.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about Coach Baker. Obviously, like I have, I would like to think that I have a fairly good relationship with him, and he's one of the characters of USPORTS. In a lot of ways,
Yeah.
He just has that personality. How he jokes around. How he's always got the one-liners. Talk about how it was like on a day-to-day basis. Working with him. What his leadership style was, things like that. Obviously he put you in all these positions to succeed as well. So talk about that dynamic for us.
I think for myself and his relationship is more like we just wanted to win at all costs. So for me coming in my freshman year, he said I would get an opportunity to play. And his mantra was, hey, if somebody's not playing well, like we're going to put somebody else in to play well. And that was kind of the mantra that we carried on our 5 years, like him just trying to get depth and stuff like that. And even times then, like he doesn't shy away from when I was there criticizing me. Like there's times that he will literally rip me and stuff like that, but it just makes me perform at a higher level. And that's just our dynamic, our relationship. Like on the court, it's all business. Like we're there for work, like hour and a half, 2 hours of work. And then when we're off the floor, like joking around and stuff like that, that's just like the person he is. And just dealing with that on a daily basis. Over my 5 years, I kind of gotten adjusted to it and just letting some guys know that was coming in. This is how he operates and this is how it is. So, I mean, we just try and go as our peak maximum for 2 hours, and then off the court, like you handle your business. Like he's going to be a loving guy, but when we're on the basketball floor, it's all work for those 2 hours. So that's how I was able to communicate with him and stuff like that for those 5 years. And I'll be forever eternally grateful for what he's done for me, for my career, and just how he shaped me as a man, honestly.
Yeah, man, UNB gave you your chance. One of the neat things about this AUS professional series we're doing is you get to kind of ask people what got you there. So Neil had a great question from the start. How did you get to UNB? So correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember this right, your recruitment was a little under the radar, compared to now you're the all-time USPORTS points leader. Everyone was wrong, so we could throw that out there right away. But I mean, everyone has that moment of struggle, of adversity, of something that lights the fire. Was that it for you? So I'm going to come to UNB and prove something?
Yeah. So, I mean, there was a whole bunch of, like, my recruitment was up and down. I mean, like, even Coach Skid as well, like, recruit at Cape Breton. I was actually going to come to Coach Skid's school. I was going to actually go to Cape Breton. And things were like, I don't know, Coach was, like, dealing with other stuff and whatever. And, like, I don't want to get into it or whatever. So, like, I mean, I went to UNB. I mean, it was fine. I mean, I was being able to compete at, like, a high level against another very good university in Cape Breton when Coach Skin was there and stuff like that. And just being there, just learning from Coach Baker, who coached women's basketball, but also coached with Coach Kinchelski, won a couple national titles, won a couple AUS titles. Like, just learning from that experience and doing what it takes to get to that level was phenomenal in my development. So, I mean, I'll be forever grateful for that university for giving me a chance. And, like, as you said, certain schools didn't really pay me any mind, but I just was motivated to work harder. And at the same time, like, I've grown into the sense that, yeah, like, they didn't want me at the time, but at the same time, like, they're in the same business as everybody. Like, Coach Skin, when I was playing, like, we want to win a national title. We want to win a conference title. So, like, for them to think you're not really necessarily that fit right there is fine. But, like, you just got to work harder and try and prove people wrong in a sense. And I thought I was able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. You came into the league and led the league in scoring your rookie year. What was the jump from high school to the AUS? And were you feeling your game at that time to say, I'm going to walk into this league and I'm going to start, putting points up?
Well, I was actually playing, like, A-game hoops. So, as many of you guys know, Kyle Julius, he's the coach at the Fraser Valley Bandits for the CBL. And I was training with him, and I was playing under his dad's Stu as well. So, like, that experience, like, he had to mix up high school and pros playing against the universities teams. So before I even got to UNB, like, I played against, like, Queens. I played against, like, Ottawa and stuff like that. So I kind of had a sense of the physicality. But then once I got to UNB, just the offense we ran and just being in the gym as much as I possibly could, just figuring out where I could score the basketball and stuff like that really helped me, and just watching film as well, pretty much.
I mean, there's obviously some great moments in your career, and I would love to, have you kind of flash back a little bit. I mean, I got to talk about the one moment. I think I mentioned it in a podcast earlier.
Yeah.
We were playing at the Curry Center, and I think we put Sean McCormick on you for the game, and I think we did a pretty good job. We held you for like 5 for 18 from the floor, but you still had like 34 points or something like that, because you were like 24 for 25 from the line or something like that. But it's just something crazy. But what are some of the games, like, let's take out the AUS Championship, like, just take out that. Like, what are some of the games that you, like, really remember where, you were, like, really feeling great, or, that like, when you think back to things, you're like, man, I really did my thing that game?
There's been a couple. A couple of them when we played my freshman year, we played UPI. I had 44 that game. It was like a blur. Just how the game was going. It was our home opener as well, and just being able to put pressure on the defense, getting to the free throw line as much as I did, that kind of helped me. And, like, we were down as well, and come back and won that game against PEI. And then our first year, I think we were ranked for the first time in, like, school history, like, after we beat St. Mary's in that game as well, which is one of my other favorite games, just playing St. Mary's in that game as well. And then as well, when we played this past when I was in my 5th year, just when I became the AUS leading scorer against St. Mary's, we were down by like 17 that game. And then we just turned it up to another level, and we were able to defend, get out in transition, and I was able to find my shooting touch. I had, I think, 37. And then when I became the all-time leading scorer, I had 39 against St. Mary's again. So, I mean, I feel like a lot of those times, is against St. Mary's, but I mean,
hopefully Jonah's not watching.
Yeah, hopefully Jonah's not watching. But no, like those are some of the games that stand up in my mind. Just the atmosphere and how I was feeling in that game, and like my mentality going into the game was, all right, I'm gonna try and win at all costs, and that was exactly what we were able to do.
You do that as a first year in the AUS. Take us to your first year as a pro. Your game fits seamlessly here, right? Our league out east here is rugged, but it's skill.
Yeah.
It's all the sorts of stuff that you would think would translate to the next level, but you just never know. So you land overseas, day one of practice. How does your game assimilate? Is it right away, same sort of deal, or is it a little more of a learning curve?
It was a little bit more of a learning curve. Going to Spain, playing for Orense, which is just above Portugal, second division. It was a learning curve. There was times that I was just like, and that's all what's gonna happen with anybody that goes overseas for the first time. Like your game might not like you think your game might translate, but it's not till you get on the floor and you see the little cracks that you can maybe get into. But like for the first maybe like 2 months or so, I was really not really fitting in well. Like I was getting frustrated. I was hard on myself. It was like a lot mental as well. And it was after like December, I was able to have a couple stretches of games where I was playing very well. And coming down the stretch, I was playing a little bit well as well. And then we ended up making the Final Four. It's my first year playing professionally, which is a very hard accomplishment over there. And that was good. And then it helped me translate into my second year what I need to work on and stuff like that. Just finding another good situation, which I was able to do here in Romania when I was in Romania.
Right on. So I want to take you back to the AUS Championship. I just want you to give a little shout out. You know, the 3-pointers and that shooters at that time in the AUS were lights out. Like, how did that help your game to always have an outlet pass out there? You know, Jesse Kendall's going to knock it down, Matt Daly. What did that mean to you, and how did it help your game?
It was great. I mean, especially having Matt during those 3 years that we were together, it just really helped me leadership-wise. The next couple of years when it was my team, just having those guys to be like my rough riders, and that helped me navigate through the ways of trying to be a leader on the team once they graduated. And then just guys like Jesse, like you said, a sharpshooter. Like there's times that I just, even if he's not hitting, I'm just still looking for a look, because all he needs is that one. That's all he needed was one, and then he can literally hit like 3-4 in a row. So I'm like having guys like that, and just like you said in that AUS Championship game, like Jesse hit some big shots down the stretch, but as well Tyrell, Leotard, by far, I even told him this that year, was like that was by far the biggest shot of the year that you hit there. And like just giving guys confidence like that, and just how we were practicing, and just our sole mindset and our focus was just on that game, on that weekend, was phenomenal. So I got to give those guys my shout outs, of course, Jesse, Tyrell, all the boys.
I guess I have a two-part question. The first part would be, how do you feel like not only like your AUS experience, but also your experience, you know, playing for FISU, how did that help you in your step forward, and then into the professional ranks? And then the second part to that is, what are the parts of your game that you're still trying to work on right now that you feel are going to take you to the next level professionally?
Okay, so for the first part, I think playing FISU was by far a great experience with Coach Hansen and Van Horn and Piermont from Laval. Playing with all those guys like Kevin Versi, Eric Nissen, Keza, Connor, and all those guys, like we finished 10th in the world. So just being able to do that and play at such a high level with some guys from across the country was phenomenal. And I think that really helped going into my next year. For my 5th year, just being able to navigate the game and just bring things that we learned from there into practice. And I think we just had a different mindset. And then when it came to the professional ranks, just how we practice, because overseas you're doing 2-a-days. You don't really get much rest. They expect like your best all the time. So, I mean, for us over there was like really, it was a different experience. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And what was the second question? Sorry.
Yeah, what are you trying to work on? Like, what do you think is the next phase of your game that you're continually trying to get better at?
I think just being able to play with pace. That's the biggest thing overseas. I mean, some of the gaps that you might have when you're playing university, they're not necessarily there. So I think just playing with pace, playing off the pick and roll differently, being able to attack your man, like attacking mismatches is our big thing overseas. So if you're able to do that and just shoot the ball at a high percentage and be able to play defense, then you'd be able to get a job. But I mean, it starts like now, like if you want to be able to get to that point, like I've been working since I was like age 7. So, I mean, if you want to get from there till now, like those are the types of years that you're going to have to put in to get to where I've been trying to get to.
Tell us a little bit about the style of play in the league. Like the refereeing the same? Like I know we talked about your free throw game against Coach Skin. You getting those same sorts of calls over there? Is it a little tougher? Is the whistle a little tighter? How does that affect how you play?
It's a little bit tighter over there. There's some, you're able to talk to the refs as well, but like they're very firm with their calls and stuff. So like we try to tell them like, hey, like there's some contact you're allowing down there. Can you just try and make it even? And like they'll, for the most part, they'll do that. But I think just being able to play that style of pace. I mean, a lot of it, when I was in Spain, it was more half court oriented. So there was not really transition baskets. Like everything was really earned. So you really had to execute. And then in Romania, when I was playing, like our coach was like really free flowing. Like you still had to execute, but like if you had an open shot, take it, like stuff like that. So I think the two styles there compared to when I was playing in university is like kind of different, just from half court and then full court, stuff like that.
Right on. So I tried to get it out of Hannah last week, but I'm interested to know, what's a day as a pro like? You know, you wake up on game day, everybody hits the bus. What's your day like?
So are you talking about on the road or at home?
What's more fun?
Playing at home.
All right, tell me.
Playing at home, usually we'll have our shoot in like the morning around like 10, 11. Just go over the game plan, just get some shots up, and then I would just eat, just watch some Netflix, chill, take a nap, and then we go to the place that we were playing at, just have my music, get my ankles taped, put my shoes on, coach comes and talks, then you just get your warm up and go and play. Pretty much it, really.
Right on. Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Obviously your brother has come into the league as well at UNB and has done had a great first year. I mean, I can imagine some of the conversations that you guys had. Obviously on the one side you were going to tell him about the amazing experience that you had at UNB, but I'm sure there was a side for him too that wanted to be his own man and make his own decisions and things like that too. So tell me a little bit about those conversations. Tell me about some of the epic one-on-one games that you guys might have in the backyard and how that works. And like how's that relationship?
I mean, it's good. I mean, when he was going through his recruiting process, I never really interfered with it, honestly. I just told him like, hey, make the best decision for you, where you think you can adapt and be able to play well and play right away. And he thought it was UNB. I mean, Baker and them, they were obviously going to go after him and stuff like that. And a lot of other coaches were doing that. So for me, like just having conversations with him, just saying like, hey, like when you go, like just enjoy yourself. Don't try and, because the thing is people want to try and pit him like against what I've done. Like, no, like I want you to go to UNB and establish your own legacy, which like he's trying to do right now.
Fantastic.
So I mean, stuff like that.
Doing that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So like he's just doing his own thing. Like I'm not worried about him. Like I'll give him advice like, hey, like during these games, try and do that. Like when you're in school, try and focus on this, blah, blah, blah. But like, when it comes to like one-on-ones and stuff, like we just battle. He's gotten the best of me a couple times. I've done the same thing to him. So I mean, just playing against him like that, I mean, it only makes him better, really, because I've been where he wants to be, and I'm just trying to help him get there as quick as possible. But it's gonna take a long time.
Yeah, and I think you guys have different style games too. Like you guys are different players, so that's good for you guys as well. Like, from a coach's perspective, I would say your athleticism and how dynamic you were in transition. That was obviously what we were trying to stop. He's, for a first-year player, how he could play in the pick and roll and his ability to shoot off the dribble and things like that. He's going to be a great player, pain in the ass, for the next 4 years. For me, that's for sure.
I mean, just got to tell him I just keep working, watching film and stuff like that, like which he's done on his own sometimes.
For sure.
But playing in that conference it's an absolute war, man. I told him that all the time. It's an absolute war. Like the amount of battles I've had with like you, and I've had battles with Plato and Tosic and everybody, Duffy, Bauer. Like it's just nonstop. So I mean, like he has to be ready for that.
Well, it's interesting. He's going through a little bit of what you did, 2 years ago as a rookie. You kind of got to know when to hit the gas and when to pump the brakes, right? Like he hits a big shot at the Scotiabank Center, went through all the checkdowns. The vets weren't open, wasn't afraid to step up to that moment. An interesting point Hannah Brown had last week on the podcast was going into a team of, grown-ass people that were some of them way older than you, some of them similar to your age, maybe a little harder to navigate than you come as an 18-year-old, and the oldest guy on your team might be, 20, 21, 22 sort of deal. Was that a challenge for you, or was it a pretty seamless fit, just like in the AUS?
I think it was kind of a seamless fit. I mean, our coach, when I was in Romania, they said, like, you're the point guard, so we need you to just control the game. Just get us into our stats. Guy is going crazy. Just keep giving them the ball. So I think that was a learning adjustment because I was able to play point guard when I was at school. So like making that adjustment really did help me into the pros, and just having like support system and stuff like that really helped me as well. So I think that really helped with my transition.
So the leadership factor is there. No problem speaking up to the old guys. Coach kind of gave you the keys.
Yeah, he did. He definitely did. Like I was always, because I've always been that way. Like even when I was playing at school, like I'd always want to know what the coach wanted to run. But like at the same time, you also have to know like, all right, time score, who just scored, stuff like that, who hasn't touched the ball in a while. So there's a lot of factors that I was dealing with. But when I got to Romania, like it was perfect. Like he gave me keys. Like if I had mismatches, I'd attack it. Certain guys didn't get the ball, we would run plays for them. So like just having that cohesiveness with the coach was really good.
You know, we're an AUS podcast here. What's a team, and maybe can you give me 3 guys who you hated lacing those shoes up, you knew you were going to face in the AUS?
That's actually good. One of them was my freshman year playing against Owen Clausen. It was just like a mammoth. Just do game planning for that and just trying to prevent him from getting the ball, because he's like a legit 6'10", like 250. And like we had guys that couldn't really guard him, so we had to guard by a committee. And even doing that, he was still dropping like 25, 30, and like 15. Like it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And going against Tyler Scott was great. Those battles were legendary. Just all those last 3 years playing against Ty Scotty. He'll love the shout out too. Those were battles. I mean, I've gotten him a couple times. He's gotten me. And then it's always a tough one. Like there's a whole bunch of players I played against and stuff that's really difficult. Probably against Marquis Clayton. Going against him, it was just, you had to be ready all the time.
2 long range shooters, you know, got to
literally,
defend them at
like,
half.
Literally. So, I mean, it was tough. Like, it was like my next couple of years, I was guarding like the best players. So I was guarding Ty Scotty and I was guarding Marquis. We usually had guys to guard them. But like those next couple of years were like, that 4th year, especially for me, was guarding Marquis, guarding Tyler Scott, and all those guys it really tested my defense, really.
You mentioned the CEBL, man, early on. It's a real showcase for a lot of those guys you're mentioning. You know, the NBL's in town, but the CEBL seem to have a lot of more of these homegrown AUS talents coming home summer months. You know what I mean? That league seemed like it had a really positive experience and shine. You know, want to get your take on that?
It's great. It's great. I mean, anytime you can have a league in Canada, I mean, it's perfect. Just helps the game grow. So just playing in that league for the time that I did, it was great practicing against phenomenal players that played G League, high level overseas, ex-NBA players. It was great. Just tested your abilities each and every day. We had practice, and even when we were playing against other teams like from Guelph and Niagara and stuff like that. So I mean, that league's really going to start growing. Obviously, it sucks with this whole thing going on with COVID and stuff, but once this thing's over with, hopefully like they'll get back to what they're doing. It's like a great league.
I guess my last question would be like, I think a lot of young kids, even especially in Fredericton and in your area, would be looking up to you, you know, and I know, you know, from what I've heard, you obviously had a very positive impact when you were in Fredericton, and you know how you connected with the community there. But what kind of advice would you give to, you know, younger players, younger kids, as far as what they need to do to kind of reach the peak, you know, and to become, you know, excel at a high level, whether it be at basketball or whatever they want to choose?
Just if you have that goal, just stick to it and just work as hard as possible. And not really let anybody tear you down from what you're achieving. A lot of people said, for me, like I wouldn't be able to get to this point. Like I read what people were saying and stuff, and then I took that to heart. When I decided to go to UNB, when I went to UNB, I just try to perfect my craft as much as possible. Just getting in the gym when I was there, when I was home, just recharging my body to play all 20 games. Like I'd be 35, 36 minutes a game, just recharging my body and stuff like that. So just doing stuff like that, working on yourself, and both mentally and physically. Some of the things that I was doing, watching film when you play, like get people to film you playing, and just because like probably you've told people this, Coach Skin, like film doesn't lie.
Oh yeah,
film doesn't lie. So
no doubt.
If you're not playing up to your standards and stuff like that, like you can watch yourself and see like, oh crap, not doing what I need to do. I got to be better. I got to execute better. I got to want to be better. So those are some of the things that I do to try and get myself better each and every day.
Can you give me an example? Sorry, Adam. I just want a number, man. Like, how many shots a day does it take to put up? You know, I want a baseline of hard work. What your hard work was, basically. How many shots a day? How long are you out there dribbling for?
Usually, I'm out there 2, maybe 2.5 hours a day. Just shooting and stuff like that. Just working on different things that translate to the pro game. And like my brother will come out too. Like we were out shooting for about 2 hours, I think, today. Just getting up shots, just trying to keep ourselves ready for when hopefully he goes back, and then when I'm supposed to leave in maybe August or something, once the whole COVID thing's done. But we're just trying to stay in as game shape as possible, just trying to be prepared as much as possible.
You know, it's interesting, man. You know, we're talking about basketball training, and I was thinking along the lines of what Neil was saying. But then what popped into my head was, with all this COVID stuff, it makes you think a little bit about like life without sports, right? Obviously, your basketball dream is far from over, and your career is far from done. But in the back of your mind, do you think life after basketball? I know in a lot of previous interviews you've talked about social work and your love to help people and help kids and all that stuff. You got that degree from UNB. Is that something you're thinking about right now, or it's just kind of tunnel vision on the basketball dream?
For the most part, it's just tunnel vision. You obviously have those thoughts sometimes when you're just sitting by yourself and whatnot. But for the most part, it's just tunnel vision right now for basketball. Like, I feel good. I feel healthy. I still have that love and passion for the game right now. So once that goes away, then that's when I can move on. But, like, you obviously think about it here and there, what your next steps are and stuff like that. But for the most part, I'm, like, straight tunnel vision. Maybe, like, in the next couple of weeks, months and stuff, like, I'll try and facilitate and see what I want to do potentially. But for right now, my sole focus is just basketball.
That's awesome. I had a really cool Zoom call with Phil Handy, who's an assistant coach with the Lakers. I had a Zoom call with him a couple of weeks ago, and he was just talking about, the individual workouts and the amount of time that it takes, and like what the guys in the NBA are doing, right? So it's cool to hear, somebody like you doing those things. And it was got some great insight on that. So if you ever want to chat about that, man, just let me know.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Javon, I think that'd probably wrap it for us, buddy. But what do you think? You got any predictions for UNB if we get a season next year?
Man, you know me. I'm always going to ride with them. Obviously, Coach Skin, they're bringing back everybody.
They're practicing their bank shots, things like that.
Maybe.
I had to drop it in.
Of course you do. I mean, I don't even know. It's going to be – obviously, the AUS is always so difficult, man. I mean, like Coach Skin has always said, like, as soon as you get to the playoffs, like, anything can happen. Like, even when I won my title, like, we were just like, all right, cool, like, we're going on. But me personally, I thought we were going to play now in that final, to be honest. So, like, preparing for them, and then when we saw St. FX beat them, we're just like, all right, cool, like, this is definitely our chance. And then when St. FX came out, guns blazing to start the game, I was I wasn't nervous, but I was just like, damn, we're going to work extra hard to get this one. And we were luckily able to do that. So it was great.
Right on, Javon. Well, thank you so much for your time. It was fantastic having you on. Such an honor, to be honest. And just carry on and share that basketball dream, my man. Just chase it as far as you can for guys like me.
No, of course, man. No, I appreciate you guys having me, man, just to talk basketball and stuff. I mean, it's great. It's great what you guys are doing. Keep this up, man.
All right, guys. Thanks a million.
Thanks so much, Javon.
Thanks, man.
Awesome. Yeah, no worries, guys.
Lick out.